Back in the shop today. It's Saturday. I am messing around with the Cobra. It's my kicked Dodge truck. And where we left off in the last video of working on the Cobra is that I had the rear end apart and what was I waiting on? Lower control arms, right lower control arms come in. Well, they came in, got it all back together, put back under the car, spring swapped out and all that good bit. Went ahead, I had about a full tank of fuel, drove it around a good bit, run it almost all the way out, and now I got it jacked up in the back to show you all the parts installed on the rear end, how it looks. Also pulled the fuel filter out because I told you I was going to check the fuel filter, see if there's anything that was maybe in the tank where the car sat so long with the E85 in it. And I was going to pull the injectors, put my spacers on, and take them over to Brad's where we got the machine to clean them and check them, make sure there's nothing that came through and it might be stopping them up. No indications that may be, just a safe side, peace of mind in my head on whether it's good or not. So I already got the injectors out, already got the filter off. I'm going to turn the camera around, show you what the injectors look like. It's injectors, you can't tell much from them, but I'm going to show you anyway. I'll show you my spacers also, and show you the filter, how it looked, and show you the rear end where it's back in the car. Okay, so I got all the injectors sitting over here, as you can see. These are my spacers that I made. I had made. They were a lot larger than this, taller, however you want to say it. And I had them milled down to this just because, for whatever reason, when I had the car together the first time, I can't think of it being no different than what these were here. And Chase, hush. These inside the intake, when I put it together this time, would move about 6 millimeter, a quarter inch up and down. And when I first drove it, it pushed the O-ring at the top where it goes in the fuel rail, pushed it out and started spraying fuel everywhere. Best of my knowledge, I didn't change, best I can remember, I didn't change anything from when these was in the car and running before till now. So I don't know how it could have been okay all that time with it like it was when I put it together this time. And I don't know what's the difference in it and why these won't work. But I did have these little spacers made. What they'll do is they'll slide up on the injector and sit about right here and take the space up that the injector will move up and down in the seats of the rail and the intake. So this will go down at the bottom of the injector over top of the intake and take up that space. These O-rings here, why they're here is because when I figured this out, I took the injectors out before I had these spacers made, and I stuck this O-ring into the intake, basically doubled up the bottom O-ring just to take up the space so I can drive the car around, move it around and stuff before, make sure everything is okay before I try and make a spacer or anything like that. If you know possibly why this has happened to me, leave it in the comments. The only thing that I could think is the reason is maybe somebody had a larger diameter or larger bottom of their injector, some like great big injectors or something like that. These are injector dynamics, and they had to machine the intake where the injector sits. And for somehow when I put these in originally, I just got lucky and never did push one out. It doesn't make much sense, but that's the only thing I could think of, because nothing is changed. These are the way you buy injectors for you know, a Mustang 03, 04 Cobra 60 millimeter injectors. So I don't understand. I have no clue. Yeah, that's where I'm at on it. The filter, took it out just like this, and there wasn't anything that I could really see in the filter. So I mean, that's real good. It's got had a whole full tank of fuel run through it after I've got it started here. So everything should be good to go as far as the fuel system, and the tank should be nice and clean in there. I'll move around here to the back, try not to get attacked by wieners. And hey, you be nice, quit your growling. And show you the rear end all put together. So here is the lower control arms. You can see they've got the bushings in the rear and also in the front. Double adjustable, nice powder coated. My rear end, you've seen before in the other video, had it powder coated also. Uppers all bolted in. They've got the urethane, or I don't know if these are urethane or not, but the bushing style in the front, and then the regular Heim style in the rear. But Team Z, they're double adjustable also. Everything looks real nice under here. Got the drive shaft hooked up. That is a PST shaft also. Precision Shaft Technologies in Florida, I believe they're from. That's who made me the drive shaft a while back after I broke the factory one. 110 springs, you can read up right up in there. Got them in. The car sits pretty good. I did have it adjusted all the way down on the shock body. Shock body. Had it adjusted all the way down. It sat a little low, so I raised it up just a little bit, and sits about right there. Still got quite a bit of travel in the shock up and down, so still good on there. Don't look like it's leaking any. Got a nice beater, silicone around it. Went back with 373 gears. Got the Eaton True Track diff in it, like I showed before. So yeah, the rear end is all back together and working good. And I'm going to go take them injectors over there to Brad's, where the machine's at, and go have them cleaned. Well, I'm out here in the garage. It's Thursday night, and I'm messing with the Cobra. I think where I left y'all off was I was putting the fuel filter back in. Got the injectors back from Brad. I put them back in with the spacers that I made, or had made. I don't know if I mentioned just before I did that, I had to start the car up and move it around a few times when I run the fuel out till the gas light was on, low fuel light was on. When I had to move it around, probably 3 or 4 times I did. It would start up and it would idle really rough, and it would have a hard time running. And the check engine light came on for mass airflow, low circuits, something another to do with the mass airflow. So I got to checking around with it and couldn't really find anything that stuck out to me. So I ordered another mass airflow. Now the mass airflow that's on this car is a SCT BA 5000 blow through mass air. like the '05 and up style. Like the '03 Mustangs, Cobras, they had a mass airflow housing, and you have to have an adapter harness to go from that plug-in to the '05 style. Well, I ordered a new mass airflow sensor, got it in today, this afternoon, plugged it up, same thing. So I got to digging around and tracing down wires and such. Had to take the inner fender well out, and I almost started tracing the wires from the original harness to the ECU because I thought somewhere it was broke. And I did have two spots on these two wires here on the left that were messed up, and I thought I had some new connectors that I could just cut the wires and put new connectors in, but I didn't have them, so I ended up just taping the wires back together. But before I did that, I tested, well, actually I was in the middle of it, and I was like, well, before I go that far into it, I better just check to see if it's in, if something's happened into this adapter harness. So I started testing the power going into it, and then the power coming out to it to the mass airflow sensor, and realized that I had no power coming through this plug here. And you can see this heat shrink casing here was over all these wires, and you can see now that I've got it loose, but right there, this red wire should be connected there, but it wasn't. It was corroded and broke loose, and that's my 12 volt power signal that goes to it, and that was my issue. And I didn't know it because it was all encased in this heat shrink here. So I cut it open, found that, and I was like, well, damn, I was wanting to go to a race this Saturday, and I won't be able to order his harness and get it in time to be able to take the car to the race in Knoxville this Saturday. So I had the idea of, well, let's just jump the plug. So I tied this wire to this one, just temporary, and put a little connector here. This pulls out, so you can just plug it in and out. Hooked it up, bypassed it, started the car. Everything's fine now. It's getting correct signal, starts up nice and smooth like it used to. So that was my issue, which when I seen that, I figured, yeah, that's what the deal is. But this style, the '03 style only used 4 wires, when the new '05 style has 6. They don't use the outer 2 wires. They're for like intake air temperature and something else. So what I may do is just get rid of this plug altogether and just wire them straight into the '05 style. That way I don't have to worry about it no more. Or I may just get another adapter harness. I'm not sure. But either way, I'm going to clean this up a little bit better. I think I'm going to take my pipe, sand it. I won't be able to get it painted or anything before this weekend, but I may shoot it with some primer, or I may not even shoot it with primer first, but I may just stick it back on here like this, and after the weekend, then do some work to it. I'll make my mind up on that, but I'm gonna clean this up, clean my mess up, put the fender well back in, sit the car back down on the ground. I'm going to have to change the oil. I'm going to put some new fresh set of spark plugs in, because when it was starting up with the mass air sensor, it was dumping some fuel, a lot more fuel than normal in it. So I'm going to make sure all that is good. I'm going to put my MSD 2-step back in, so I'll be able to leave on some boost on the at the race, and make sure that's all going to be good, and get it ready for this weekend. So I got everything buttoned up, changed the oil, went over everything. I actually found my ABS sensors that I had took off the back with the other axles. I pushed them up in the hole where they come through the floor, hooked them back up, got the two-step hooked up. So I'm gonna fire it up, run the oil through it. So in the morning I'll check to see if it needs any more. But with all that being done, she should be good to go for the race tomorrow. That's how an E85 cold start should be. Cold. But my ABS light is still on. Maybe it'll go off once I drive it down the road for a little bit.